Factor each polynomial function and identify the zeros, then use the factors to sketch a graph of the function defined by the polynomial. I'm going to circle the 3 verbs that I think they want us to do. Number 1, they want me to factor. Number 2, identify the zeros. That's the number of dots on the x-axis. That's from last semester. And then use the factors to sketch a graph. That's the 3rd thing. Let's do the first step, number 1, factor. In this problem, I have 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. And if I look at all the terms there, I recognize that it looks like they have a greatest common factor. So I'm going to split up all to the factors. Class, what do they each have in common? They all have a what? 3x. So the 3x becomes my greatest common factor. Now I'm going to write everything that's not in pink. What am I going to write, class? X squared plus x, and that's going to be what? Minus 2. So the first thing I did here is I took out the greatest common factor. The next thing I'm going to do is factor here in purple. Just a reminder how to factor. Excuse me. A is 1, B is 1, and C is negative 2. I have A times C. Class, what's A times C? Notice I underline just here in purple. And your B value. Partner A, tell partner B the 2 numbers that go there. Darling, your 2 numbers. These 2 numbers multiply to be negative 2, but add to be positive 1. 2 here is positive. And remember, you only need to use the x when A is equal to 1. You don't need to use the box. So that was the first step we did there. That was to factor. I like to put check marks by my verbs so I know I did it. The second thing I'm doing is going to identify the zeros. ID zeros. We basically need to get the dots on the x-axis. How do I do that? I'm going to set each of these equal to 0. So if you have something in front, set it equal to 0. I'm going to solve. X is equal to 0. Subtract 2. X equals a negative 2. And add 1. X equals positive 1. The third thing I'm going to do now is sketch the graph. I'm going to take x equals 0, go to the x-axis, where is 0? Right there. X equals negative 2. And x equals 1. I want you to take your pen or pencil and place it somewhere on here that tells us where the arrows go. Put your finger or pen somewhere that tells you where the arrows go. Show your partner. Give him a head nod. in some feedback. The number you should be looking at is this number, the degree of the polynomial. The degree of this polynomial is odd, and the easiest odd is 1. Starts down, ends up. Starts down, ends up. The leading coefficient, the a value, is positive, so it's going to stay there. And then last semester we learned about the multiplicity. These are all odd, so they're all going to be shoot-throughs. And the graph looks something like that. So we factored it. I identified the zeros by setting equal to 0 and solving it. And then we made a rough sketch.